Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing today? It is Fun in the Locker Room. It's 4 p.m., Monday afternoon, start of the week. Got to start with some fun in the locker room. We're going to cover a lot of sports today. We have a lot of NFL takeaways from a pretty exciting weekend of games. The NBA season just kicked off last week, and where we have a lot of overreactions from the season. And then we're going to cover the baseball as well. Sean, Liam, how are we doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Good to be back in here.
All right. Well, let's start with the way we usually start the show with our big takeaways from Week 7 of the NFL season. Sean, what are we thinking?
Big takeaway is that Daniel Jones is not an elite quarterback. I can't give him that statue. He's not there yet. But he is a championship caliber quarterback and the quarterback of the future for the Giants.
Championship caliber?
Yes.
Maybe for another team, not for the Giants, buddy.
Well, not yet. There needs to be a team around him to win a championship. He's not the focal point of your team, but he's capable enough that he can win you a championship.
Are they the future 2026 champions?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we will address that later. Leah, what's your take for this?
King Henry, future MVP, but could he also be future quarterback? I don't know.
All right, we're really taking overreactions quite seriously here today. My take is that the Bengals are now your AFC North favorites for the end of the season. We just saw a huge AFC North showdown this week. Ravens, Bengals, and Ravens just I can't call them the favorites anymore. I feel like the entire show, the duration of the season, we've been kind of penciling them in as the favorites for a while, but at least I have. But I think now the two top dogs, we've been talking about the Bengals, Ravens, and I think the Bengals won that, and I think they're going to show that the rest of the season this is their division to win. Let's start with Sean. Outrageously crazy take. Let's talk to me.
Explain that, please.
Okay, so over the past calendar year, even though Daniel Jones has had on and off games, overall, he has cut down his turnovers drastically since his first year and a half in the league. He is playing like a player who can actually, the Giants are playing around him. Yesterday's performance, he did not play well against the Rams 2 weeks ago, and that was a terrible game, but the past other games, he's running the ball well. He's throwing the ball well. That catch he made, absolutely ridiculous. He's putting his heart on the line for the team, and he's just getting better each and every week. Seeing his leadership skills. His running ability is really underrated in the league, and he's just looking like a more confident quarterback. He's making his decisions more crisply. He's making the plays. He's calling the plays line of scrimmage. He seems to have a control and grasp of this Giants offense that he hasn't had before, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of him so far this year.
I'm gonna let Liam go, but real quick, I just want to ask, how did you feel when you saw the OBJ comparisons after that catch?
It was a little extreme.
A little, yeah.
My friend was sitting next to me. He called it before they even made the comparison, but it was an amazing catch. He caught it with one hand. How many quarterbacks in the NFL are making that catch?
That's true.
Yes, I think it was a great catch too for a quarterback as well.
Yes, and he got hit.
Yeah, he held on to the ball.
He had a safety barreling down at him, and he made that catch. Many NFL wide receivers would be terrified to make that catch.
That's what I'm saying.
It was a nice catch.
It was a great catch.
I think it's a little disrespectful to Odell because Odell caught it cleanly. Daniel Jones was more, he kind of touched it and caressed it into his arms.
It was a QB comparison of an Odell Beckham catch.
It's an obvious meme.
Yeah.
I don't know, but championship caliber, Sean.
He's Jimmy Garoppolo. He can lead a team to the championship. He can be game manager. He can do it that way. They need pieces around him. They need an offensive line. They need a defense, which played really well yesterday. I know Sam Darnold and the Panthers are bad, but they held them to 3 points.
The Panthers are horrible.
Yes, they're
without
bad.
CMC. They don't. Their defense is just not good anymore. They started off the season. I want to say they started the season frauds. What were they? 2-1, 3-0.
3-0. Yeah.
Now they're 3-4.
They're like the Broncos a little bit.
Still though, Giants did win by a big margin, but championship quarterback. How would the Giants?
Capable. He could do it.
In maybe 5 years, but
would you give him a contract extension? He's up for a contract extension
if you're
this year.
the Giants, yes. Yeah.
Is he up after this offseason?
Yes, he's available. He's got one more year. This is his third year, so he's got one more year, and he can. So he can play out year 4. They'll probably at least give him the year 5, but he's eligible for a contract extension this offseason. I don't know if I give it to him this year, but I think he's trending in the direction where I would legitimately consider giving him a contract extension.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm actually legitimately pondering that. I'm looking at the QB free agent class next year. Not Not strong at all. We're led by Big Ben, Taysom Hill, Fitzmagic, Andy Dalton, all names kind of that caliber. Maybe Mitchell Trubisky, and I would say Daniel Jones probably better than most, if not all of those.
And you look at the teams like the Jets, the Panthers, who are in like QB nightmare situations where they're constantly changing their quarterbacks, constantly doing these things. And Daniel Jones is a capable quarterback. He's like average, 15, somewhere in that range. You'd put him as a quarterback in the NFL, and that's good enough to win you a championship. You got the pieces around him.
Maybe Geno return to New York.
Yeah, please.
Also, the draft class for 2022 is also not expected to be very QB
Well, the top
heavy
guy was supposed to be Spencer
strong.
Rattler, and he's been removed already from his starting job at Oklahoma.
Yes. So that being said, I would give him an extension. Yeah.
Sean, I just want to ask, do you see him being better than Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Baker Mayfield when he comes back from injury, Kyler Murray?
No.
You think he's better than any of those guys?
None of them.
You think that's
the future of
You
this
think the
league.
Giants will have a better team than any of those teams?
They could.
I just think that
Eli Manning was not the best quarterback in the league at
That's
any
true,
point in his
But he
career.
had a great defense.
yes.
He had a great defense, a great team around him, and I think Daniel Jones can do the same exact thing and win you a championship that way.
Let's get that
I
team
think
first, and then we
You
can have
could
this
argue that for a
conversation.
lot of guys, I think.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
yeah.
But I have faith in him that he's not going to make the mistakes anymore. He's actually going to be able to like show leadership. The team's going to rally around him.
Do you think the Giants can finish second in that division?
Oh yeah, we're second place right now.
Tied with the Pats?
Not the Pats.
Or,
We're
excuse me.
tied with the Eagles
sorry.
and football team
Yeah.
for second right now, and we could easily get second in that division.
Yeah.
We're going to be like 7 games behind the Cowboys for second place.
Is
But
Daniel
it's still
Jones
second.
better than Jalen Hurts?
Absolutely. The way Jalen Hurts played this week and has played so far this year, Jalen Hurts is gone after a year or two. He's not getting a contract extension.
Wow.
Eagles are back on a quarterback
I gotta
market.
think too. I think God, it's close, but the Giants have a little more weapons than I'd say the Eagles at this point. It's just looking
Healthy
rough.
Giants receiving core is
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton,
And of course you got Saquon.
Saquon. Evan and Grimm had a great game this week, and he's gotten a lot of bad publicity about him throughout his career, but he did step up where they needed him this week, which was really impressive by him.
I'm not going to disagree with you and say that Jalen Hurts is better. I'm just going to read you their stats on the year. Jalen Hurts, or we'll start with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, 1,700 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 picks. Jalen Hurts, 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 picks. So
Rushing yards. What's their rushing stats?
I'm sure it's honestly pretty comparable. I don't have that up in front of me.
Who's got a catch? Who's got a receiving reception?
Okay.
However, I do want to throw this out there.
Daniel Jones has had tough games this year because the Giants have played tough teams.
Yes.
They played harder teams than the Eagles did.
And there were games, football team, they lost by 1.
Yeah.
Falcons, they lost by a field goal. Those were winnable games. They could be 4-3 right now.
Yeah, Daniel Jones won the Giants this week. I don't think
Yes.
I've seen Jalen Hurts win his team a football game. And Daniel Jones went out there after a tough game last week and proved the doubters wrong because there was a lot of them after the Rams' performance.
Yeah, the Eagles have also played the Bucks, Raiders, Chiefs, Cowboys. Those are good teams.
Well, the Chiefs are who knows what. Like,
Oh, okay. Well, let's not
the
say
Chiefs
that.
are playing
Let's
the
not
Giants.
say the
Chiefs are on Monday night, and looking at the beginning of the season, I was terrified of this. But am I crazy to think? I am crazy to think that they could possibly win it. But I think they could keep it close.
We'll have to see. All right, let's switch. Liam, your take. Derrick Henry, big Derrick Henry guy over here.
I said it on, I believe last week when we had Bills-Titans was our Monday Night Football game. I said, only way the Titans win this game, I was exaggerating, is if Derrick Henry rushes for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did have 150 and 3 touchdowns. He is an absolute beast, and not only is he just running past people, his yards after being hit is incredible. You look at the stats for rushing in general, he's by far and away best running back in the league in terms of rush yards. He himself is second after being hit, which I find unbelievable. This week,
Wait, can you clarify that stat? So you're saying that out of every running back in the league, he is just, if you just include his yards after contact,
only his yards after contact, he's still second.
Wow.
Yes. By far and away, the most important player on that Titans team. And this week, just absolutely slaughtered a Chiefs defense that's in trouble.
And he didn't have a lot of rushing yards this week.
He
The
did
Titans
not.
still won.
It just shows how important it is. When you have a guy like that on your offense, it opens up the pass game so much. And Tannehill has not had a good year. The Titans receivers have not had a good year. But just Derrick Henry's the reason why they're 5-2. And we counted out the Titans to begin the season. I think we all wrote them off. They were 3-2 at one point, maybe. And we were like, this is a mediocre.
Also the Jets.
Yeah, this is a mediocre team. They're not going to do well. They could win that weak division, but Derrick Henry has just catapulted them. And I think he's got to be the favorite for MVP the way he's been playing. I do have to say, though, that pass was probably the most unathletic thing he's ever done in his career. But yet he still got a touchdown out of it. I don't know.
The MVP takes a little strong because the amount of NFL players in history who have won an MVP that weren't a quarterback is a very slim list. And
That's true.
I don't think he'd be on a list for this year, but he's definitely worthy of consideration so far this year.
I just think in terms of most valuable player, the
absolutely.
Titans would be nowhere without Derrick Henry. And if they keep on this hot streak, keep it going, he's got to be at least in the conversation.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I just want to echo you're showing the statistical dominance of Derrick Henry. This was before this past Sunday, but the number 2 rusher at the time was Nick Chubb. He's
yes.
4th now, but he was closer in yards to the 27th ranked rusher than he was to the spot right above him, which was Derrick Henry.
Yes.
So, I mean, that just shows a lot of dominance right there. Yeah, and I'm not gonna hype up Ryan Tannehill as being equally or even close to as important to the team. AJ Brown, Julio Jones have been kind of picking it up as the season went along. They both started out pretty bad, which I think is kind of what contributed to the slow start. But yeah, Derrick Henry's throwing touchdown passes now. That's really scary. They did beat up on a pretty poor defense. If they had done this against like a Bills defense or a Steelers defense or a Cardinals defense.
They did do it against the Bills last week.
Derrick Henry rushed
200,
or was it like 150?
It was about 150. I think he had 5 yards of carry, but 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
he was just they could not stop him.
So I find that to be a pretty reasonable pick for MVP. Yeah, I would agree with that. And
yes, his stats last week were 143 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Against the Bills defense, which is good.
Number 2 in the NFL.
Yeah. Number 1 going into that week.
Yeah. And gotta say too, Titans defense really stepped up this week too.
Yeah.
Gave up a garbage time. Well, the game's already over. Gave up a garbage time field goal. Really impressive win for the Titans.
Yeah, 27-0 against a team that won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, and the AFC reigning champs is nothing to laugh at or look over. If Derrick Henry won MVP, he would be the first running back to win since. I know I'm stealing Sean's trivia moment.
Emmitt Smith?
Adrian Peterson, 2012.
Wow, he did win that? When he set the rushing record. Which Derrick Henry might set the rushing record this year.
Yeah, I think he's on pace.
He's on pace to destroy
a lot of
it.
guys are on pace to destroy records this year.
Yeah.
What happens when you had a 17th game?
Yeah.
But.
All right, so why don't we just jump right into MVP picks? We've had enough time. It's been 7 weeks. We're reaching the halfway mark in the season. Let's just go around and, we know yours.
Yeah.
We've talked about enough. Sean, who do you see for MVP?
I think the guy who's not getting enough love, which is kind of crazy. I think he's probably odds-on favorite, but Kyler Murray is the MVP, should be the MVP favorite, and is probably going to win this award. He's having the Cardinals playing at a ridiculously high level. They're 7-0. They're not playing bad teams. They're knocking off wins against the Browns, the Rams. Who they play this week?
Texans, and it was not close.
No, they're not close. They're dominating teams, and it is amazing to watch. Yeah, 31-5 against the Texans. I know the Texans are bad, but still, the Cardinals are a good team, and Kyler Murray is the reason why they're such a good team. Kyler Murray is my pick for MVP.
Very solid pick. Only undefeated team left. You're right. They have beat really good teams. I was going to go Kyler Murray, but I just want to switch it up, play a little devil's advocate, and I'm going to go with Father Time, Tom Brady of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, leading the league in passing yards on a 6-1 team. 21 touchdowns to Kyler Murray's 17. 3 picks to Kyler Murray's 5. Higher QBR. And I think a lot of people are just sleeping on Tom Brady. He's getting so old, and people look at all these, Kyler Murray's having a great breakout MVP season. But I think, you can't just sleep on Tom Brady, who continues to dominate at this old age. Yes, his team is very good, but so is Kyler Murray's team. Both have great defenses and great offensive weapons. Yeah, I'm going to go with Tom Brady. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I think both very fair picks. Tom's also on pace to break yards, I think, for a season, and
He's close
to touchdowns.
His on pace for the touchdowns. He's currently on pace for 53.2 touchdowns for the season. He's got to get to 55 to break Peyton Manning's record, but his personal record's 50. So this could be Tom Brady's high statistical season, which is just completely crazy.
It is crazy to hear.
He's just got guys he can throw to. And got to give a shout out to Antonio Brown. He's been unbelievable this season.
Rocky middle of his career, but he's really looking like he's back in his prime, which is shocking. I feel like we don't give Tom Brady and the Bucs enough love on this show, which kind of...
No.
He's consistently good. He's just consistently quietly doing his stuff.
It's so upsetting.
He's letting everybody else take their hype, and he's just going along. He's playing the game.
We have to congratulate him. 600 touchdown pass.
Yeah.
Yep. Glad they got that ball back, too.
Yeah. Mike Evans tossing that into the stands, but he got it back. I think you guys both have great picks. Obviously, I'm going to say this is a little bit an overreaction on my part. Derrick Henry, but... It's going to come down to a quarterback, most likely. It's going to be Kyler Murray, Tom Brady, I think.
Yeah, I think it's probably between those two.
Yeah.
So no Josh Allen. Any other dark horses?
Josh Allen. Matthew Stafford's another one in there.
Yeah. I just think the way
Lamar, you were a big Lamar guy last week.
Yeah. We had an extensive conversation last week. But
didn't have a bad game this week.
He's got the moments, for sure.
Yeah.
He's got the moments, but he doesn't got the consistency.
Yeah, I mean, he also does not have a team around him, though.
Bad loss.
And if the stats don't match up or surpass his MVP season, I think people are going to see that as not being an MVP.
Yeah, he
season.
didn't have a bad game this past week. No turnovers.
Joe Burrow outplayed him.
Oh, I mean, Joe Burrow has a much better team, I think.
Yeah, Jamar Chase ran over that entire defense. I mean, he smoked Marlon Humphrey, who's one of the better.
The Bengals defense played well,
players.
too.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got to give credit where credit's due. Lamar's still absolute beast on the ground, though. He was the entire offense for the Ravens. They just had nobody else. But I do agree with you guys. Right now, it's between Kyler Murray, Tom Brady, and hopefully this running back can stay in the conversation because I would love to see Derrick Henry win it.
Just one other idea out here. What about Aaron Rodgers?
The
Packers are quietly 6-1.
Yeah, Packers
playing really well.
Keep playing well. I think they need a drop off from the Bucs and the Cardinals for him to be in the conversation. Just because Cardinals are undefeated right now, Bucs are, I think, the consensus number 2.
But this is going to be an exciting playoffs in the NFC because you got the Cardinals. They're the top 4 teams in each of the division. Top team in each of the divisions are all 6-1 or 7-0 if I'm correct. It's the Packers, the Cowboys, the Bucs. And the Cardinals, and the Rams are 6-1 too, I think.
Yes.
So the Rams are a wild card team. You have 5 teams in the NFC, 6-1 or better. It's going to be a very fun, chaotic NFC. Who's going to come out of that? And I think it's.
The NFC is very stacked.
Oh yeah, much better than the AFC.
Yeah, and I want to address the Aaron Rodgers thing. So he's 17th in yards, which is actually kind of a lot more surprising than I thought it was.
So yeah, it seems low.
And 15th in touchdowns. I'm sorry, seventh in touchdowns, and all the guys we mentioned before, Kyler Murray, Tom Brady above him. So, I don't know if his team is doing phenomenally. He and Devontae Adams are doing their thing, but I don't know if that's enough to get MVP attention. We're gonna cut to a quick PSA, maybe cut back to some Monday Night Football picks, maybe talk about the Chiefs a little bit more. But for right now, do you have a podcast project for class? Need some help recording, finding talent, or need a space? Reach out to WXVU to schedule time in their new recording studio. The studio, located with Audacity and Adobe Audition, is located on the 2nd floor of Dougherty and is a space where students can see what WXVU has to offer. All right, so this Chiefs situation just doesn't seem to get any better at all.
I texted about it to both you guys on Sunday that you fall into the trap. You think Patrick Mahomes is just invincible. You think he's back to the past couple of years, and even when they were down 27-3, I was in the third quarter, I'm it doesn't matter. It's Patrick Mahomes. They're going to win the game. But you forget that it's just a completely different team now, and I'm not sure what happened.
Well, that defense is not there, and their offensive line is just.
But it didn't get a lot of worse. They didn't. Their offensive line is completely different than last year, which I think they tried to make it better, but they actually ended up making it worse in the process. But their defense is pretty similar to last year's defense.
Which wasn't a good defense.
Did they lose Chandler Jones or something Jones? Frank Jones? The defensive end they had on.
Frank Clark's still there.
Frank Clark's still there, okay.
Yeah, and they still got the Honey Badger. I think it's a combination of the defense just being poor, catching up to the team, and also Mahomes just being in a slump. I'm going to read you a few stats.
Yeah.
Leads the NFL with picks, tied with Zach Wilson, not someone you want to be tied with for picks.
God.
6 straight games with a pick, longest stretch of his career. 16 picks in the last 16 games. And when they were down 27-0 at halftime to the Titans, he had 2 turnovers. So we can sit here. I feel like we've been beating a dead horse about how bad this team is, but at the end of the day, we got to acknowledge Patrick Mahomes is just kind of in a slump right now.
Mm-hmm. I think that's totally fair.
And, that division, we've talked about that division a lot. Chargers, Raiders. I think Raiders have a chance still. But I'm fully. It took a while for me to get to this point, but I'm fully off the Chiefs repeating or going to the AFC Championship game or winning the division or maybe even at this point getting to like 12 wins. I don't know.
What about playoff game? You ignore 12 wins. Are they a playoff team? I found 43% chance of making the playoffs now.
That's still really high for.
It's below 50%.
I think that's really high. They're 3-4. They got 2 teams above them in their division. The Raiders are 5-2.
So who are your 3
Chargers
wildcard teams? If we're just having the Raiders, Chargers, so one of them's probably going to make it. One of the wildcard teams, right? Mm-hmm. You have Ravens, Bengals. So there's another one.
Bills, Titans.
Okay, so
who's the third wildcard?
Bills, Bengals, right. Titans, Raiders, the top 4 teams. Then Ravens are going to get in. The Browns are going to get in. Chargers.
Do you think the Browns are going to get in?
Ravens, Browns, Chargers could easily be the 3 teams.
Do you think the Browns are going to get in without Baker?
Well, Baker's going to come back in 2 weeks.
He's got a torn labrum. I don't know. You can't. Yeah.
Right off the Browns.
Yeah.
Right off the Browns. But the teams that are left are the Patriots played well. It could be the Patriots. Could be the Colts. I kind of like. I'm a big Carson Wentz guy.
God, the AFC stinks.
There's some teams that give the Chiefs problems. Like if you write in the Chargers, you pen in the Chargers, pen in the Raiders, the Titans, the Bengals, Ravens, Bills. The Chargers are battling for the 7th spot with the Patriots, the Browns, and the Colts.
Oh God.
The Chiefs are tied for last in the division.
They are.
Last.
It's not a good look for them. Not a good time to be a Kansas City fan, for sure.
I don't see how it turns around.
No.
If there's no signs. Like, this was... They showed a couple signs against the football team, but they still didn't look great against the football team.
Just want to throw this out there. Tied for 4th in points allowed.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You can't win like that.
That's bad.
No matter how good your quarterback is.
No, you can't. I guess we're getting to the point where Chiefs turn this around. Do they start making trades? And what would they give away for that?
Well, they have the problem because if Patrick Mahomes' contract is so huge that are they going to start regretting this?
I don't think. Okay, you gotta look at it this way though. Pat Mahomes before this season, he was next in line to be the next Tom Brady.
Yeah, so then do you just run the same team back next year and just make tiny?
You got to draft well.
You can't blow it up.
It's got to be the defense.
You got to draft well.
No, you cannot blow it up. You have Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Pat Mahomes. You got to build around that.
And also just an absurd amount of other weapons outside of those big 3
exactly.
that any team would love to have. Those big 3, let alone some of the supporting wide receivers and running backs are absurd as well.
So then, if you're the Chiefs general manager, are you looking to trade guys away?
I don't touch the offense.
No. But the defense is the you need to make changes
maybe outside of Tyrann Mathieu, anyone's expendable.
Yeah, I totally agree.
They might have a high pick this year.
They're going to have to draft and a lot of internal improvement. Because, like you said, with that contract, they're not. No,
they don't have any flexibility.
They're not Mr. Moneybags over there.
That is true. But I got to say this too: Chiefs have been great for the past couple of years. They could turn this around. Andy Reid's a good head coach. The offense could. Pat Mahomes could break out of this slump next week.
All you got to do is sneak in the playoffs and then make it happen.
Exactly. All you got to do is make the playoffs.
It's 7 games removed from a Super Bowl. I mean, it's not like Tom Brady never had a slump in his tenure with the Patriots. So
nothing this bad, though.
That is true. Yeah. This has been historically bad for Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. And it's a tough year to have him in fantasy, which I happen to do have him. So let's move on to the exciting game tonight. Not really actually exciting, but it's exciting for us because Liam is a Saints fan. I'm a Seahawks fan. No, you're above 500, right?
3-2, baby.
We are below 500.
You guys
first time in
2 and 4?
2 and 4.
Okay.
What are our picks?
So we'll go into the thing. The Saints are favored by -4. They're playing at the Seahawks, actually. That is my mistake. I put it wrong in the document. Beam, start it off, Resident Saints fan.
The Saints will cover, and their defense will be unbelievable today. I think they're going to step up, and looking at it, it's pretty generous, I'd say, based on the fact that the Saints' offense is still just a huge question mark.
Seahawks are missing Russell Wilson.
I'm going to get to that. Their Saints wide receiving core is one of the worst in the NFL right now. They're going to rely heavily on Kamara, and we'll see what Jameis does to air it out. But that Seahawks defense has some holes in it, and I'm hoping famous Jameis can sling it downfield.
What's going on with Michael Thomas, just out of curiosity?
He is still a lot of problems with his feet. Surgery. I mean, they know this year they're not going to win their division. So they're taking it slow.
Trying to sneak in.
Don't want to rush him back. I mean, they have nothing to lose. But Seahawks playing without Russell Wilson, Saints are going to have a field day. I think that defense is still really good. Demario Davis, Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Williams. They have playmakers up front. Cam Jordan. I think the Saints defense is going to have an absolute field day on that weak Seahawks offensive line, especially with Geno Smith at quarterback.
And the Saints are actually the second wildcard team right now in the NFC. And
They are.
It looks like something they can maintain.
Oh, yeah. Their schedule, they still have to play Falcons, Panthers a bunch. They could sneak in.
I could easily see them being a playoff team.
And I wrote them off from the beginning because I wanted them maybe tank a little bit, see what's going on in the draft. But
the NFC is very top heavy. Very top heavy.
After the first 5 teams, it drops off like a stone. So we'll see. But I totally think they're going to cover tonight. I think they're going to do more than that. I think they're going to win by a score or 2.
Okay. Truett?
All right. So I also chose them to cover, as much that pains me to say. But I'm gonna disagree with you because I think the reasons you said were not accurate. So the Saints actually let up 1.5 yards around more than the Steelers do per game, and I don't think the Seahawks had any issue really. The first half there was an issue scoring, but once Geno Smith and the running game got going a little bit, they didn't really have any issue getting down the field, getting to where they want to. It was just one great play by T.J. Watt at the end of the game. So to say that the Saints defense is gonna have a field day, I think it's a little inaccurate because if the Seahawks had played against a poor defense instead of the Steelers, and then we put up like 20 points, and now we're playing the Saints, sure, but the Steelers defense is nothing to laugh at. It's pretty comparable points actually allowed and passing yards allowed. At the same time, it's not like I'm going to choose Geno Smith to maybe outplay Jameis Winston. I don't know.
I just want to throw this out there too. Saints lost against the Panthers and against the Giants. Panthers, they had 8 starters out on defense. I think the Giants, they might have had 6, including their...
Are they healthy?
5. I think they had 5 defensive linemen out. I want to say against the Giants when they lost.
How are they
I
now?
think they're healthy this week.
Steelers also have almost twice as many sacks on the year as the Saints. I don't doubt what you're saying is not true about the starters and everything, and this the Saints defense has been really good recently. Obviously,
with Geno Smith at quarterback, I don't know. He didn't look good against the Steelers until what was it, the third quarter when they came back.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pete Carroll's going to try and do the same thing tonight and you got to establish that running game because once Alex Collins went off, then Geno, you're packing the box a little bit more, so then Geno Smith can kind of do what he can do. I'm surprised that Minkah Fitzpatrick wasn't having a field day versus the Seahawks, but I could easily see Marshawn Lattimore doing it. Kamara is the obvious advantage over Alex Collins. Quarterbacks, I'm not even gonna. I think it's a question
Yeah.
mark there. It's hit or miss.
Jameis is still up in the air.
Yeah. And then the Seahawks defense is nothing special. The Seahawks do have pretty good wide receivers, pretty good people. If you need people to catch the ball, they can provide that. I'm still gonna take the Saints to cover. The Seahawks have been, have been kind of generating a little bit of magic versus the Rams and versus the Steelers with Geno Smith. I think that ends tonight. But yeah, I'd love to see a close game, honestly. I'd love to see us Seahawks win, even if it means falling worse in these rankings as Sean continues to establish dominance in these Monday Night Football picks. But Sean, what's your thoughts on this?
Okay, it's completely outrageous and blasphemy that you have chosen against your team.
I totally
That's
agree.
Just wrong and
It's not right.
disappointing, and I've lost a lot of respect for you after this
Oh
pick,
my
but,
God!
the Seahawks are going to cover and win this game,
Wow.
I believe.
and there is one
You know-
reason and one reason only. The Saints' star, not their starter, their star quarterback is out. Taysom
Hill's not
is
playing?
not
Oh,
playing
no.
this week.
Oh no.
But in actuality, the Seahawks have played well with Geno Smith. I like their receiving core. Alex Collins played well. They started to build momentum in the second half of that game. And I think the Saints are down for another letdown. I just looked at their injury list. I'm not sure.
oh no.
They have a couple guys out. Chase Henson, their cornerback. Ken Crawley, their quarterback.
Ken Crawley's not bad.
Payne Turner, the defensive end's out.
He's
Dwayne
not-
Washington. Deontay Harris is out.
Oh no, that's a huge loss.
Yeah,
He's been
Marcus
our number
Davenport's
one.
on the injury reserve. Quan Alexander's out. Traquan Smith is on injury reserve. They're missing a bunch of key guys, and you guys are going to be wrong. So I let you lock in your picks before I went. Yeah, the Seahawks are winning this game.
Classic trap game right here.
Seahawks are winning this
No,
game.
yeah, this is definitely a classic trap game. -4. I mean, the whole world is because the Seahawks have just played 2 primetime games, so everyone in the United States has seen the Seahawks have been falling up. Not only were falling apart with Russell Wilson, but now they have Geno Smith. So, and they just have blown the games, at the very last minute, like twice in a row. So, I totally understand why it's a trap game. Everyone's going to be hammering Saints.
Yeah.
Statement game for Jameis. 4 touchdowns tonight. Lock it in.
Seahawks win.
Hey, if I have to give any advice to James Winston, I'd say throw the ball at Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
You'll probably do
Let
well.
him hit it in the helmet.
Well, unless Jamal Adams is playing defensive end again, and
Yeah.
then don't throw it at him.
Yeah, exactly. Then it's a whole different ballgame. We're gonna cut to some commercials, get back to it. Some MLB. We gotta visit the NBA, but we'll be right back with Fun in the Locker Room.
I want to get back to kissing the cheeks of my grandbabies, making Sunday dinner with a house full of family and lots of laughs.
COVID-19 has changed how we live and how we feel. But now, there are vaccines. And they are the very first step that let us get back to what we miss most. It's okay to have questions.
Is it safe?
Should I wait? Now, get the facts. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Listen to WXVU for programming through our partnership with Philadelphia's Germantown Radio. Tune in every Saturday at 9 a.m. for The Volta Way, a show about how we live in our homes. From dishes to relationships, we explore simple, responsible living. Hosted by Lois Volta. For more information on Germantown radio programming, visit gtownradio.com. Check out WXVU's anchor feed for on-demand Villanova interviews with Father Peter, J.J. Brown, Stephen Coach, Jared Brewer, and Kathy Gallagher as part of WXVU's Move-In Week coverage. Log on to wxvu.villanova.edu and click the link for our anchor feed to listen to the interviews.
Welcome back to Fun in the Locker Room, your favorite sports radio and podcast at 4 p.m. on Mondays. We just covered Week 7 of the NFL, made our picks for tonight. We're going to be tracking those storylines for the rest of the season, so you got to stay with us every Monday at 4 p.m. Right now, it is World Series time, baby. This is what Liam and Sean live for. I'm going to give it up to you guys. We have Braves and Astros, so let's hear it, guys.
Okay,
you guys have to have an absurd amount of reactions to this, I'm assuming.
Yes, quick
Absolutely.
recap. We'll start in the NL. Braves Dodgers. I don't think anybody had the Braves winning the series coming into it.
I don't think anybody had the Braves going to this when we started the playoffs.
Lowest percentage chance to make the World Series out of
Yeah.
any team in the playoffs, and
They
it
got hot.
pains me so much to say this, but as a Mets fan, but they are electric. Their pitching has just been unbelievable. Game in and game out, just shut down a great Dodgers lineup who honestly looked bad at the plate besides a few guys. Chris Taylor, got to give some respect to him. He will be in Met next year. I can confidently say that. And
it started the offseason of us saying that everybody should be a Met next year.
Yes. This is the beginning of the offseason for the Mets. But Cody Bellinger, he was the only reason why the Dodgers even had a chance this series. We need to give him some respect. Obviously, he had a bad season, but this playoffs, he really stepped up in the clutch and got some clutch hits. Only reason why the Dodgers were in the series. But the Braves, man, they just have guys stepping up. Eddie Rosario, Jock Peterson, guys they got the trade deadline, picking them up. Been unbelievable for them. That just shows their front office, even without their best player, their MVP, Ronald Acuna, they're in the World Series. They don't have Soroka either, who's a great number 3, number 2 maybe, but their pitching, their bullpen, their hitting, timely hitting has been unbelievable, and they're fun to watch.
They made the Dodgers lineup look average.
They did.
Which is crazy to say, because you go up and down the lineup and every single person is starting on every single team in Major League Baseball, basically. Like, they have a complete lineup, and the Braves pitching just did it, and the Braves hitting. It's what matters in the postseason is the timely hitting, getting hot at the right time, and the Red Sox had it for. We'll go back to the Red Sox a little bit, but the Red Sox had it for a little bit and lost it. But the Braves have maintained their ability to get hot. The Nationals did a couple years ago, got them to World Series, won the World Series. Mets did it, got them to World Series, couldn't win the World Series. But the Braves are putting it all together, which is. I hate it, but they're doing it.
As much as I hate it, it is very fun to watch, and their defense has just been incredible as well.
And defense wins championships.
Exactly. You saw that. It came down to 2 plays in Game 1 and Game 2. Mental error on Corey Seager, lost Game 2 because he didn't get in front of the ball.
And Chris
Taylor's base running.
Could
have been a whole different series without those 2 errors for the Dodgers. But the Braves, hats off to them.
Yeah, and it's gonna be they're gonna challenge the Astros.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I guess we're flipping over to the AL. Let's talk a little bit of the Astros-Red Sox series. As much as we all wanted the Red Sox to win, because the Astros, the cheaters, the scandals,
they're the villains
of the MLB.
Yes.
It was a back and forth series.
It was, and
the Red Sox started off huge, hot.
They just ran out of gas.
And
we got to give credit where credit's due. The Astros pitching those last 3 games were unbelievable.
The rookie
pitcher took a no-no into the 6th until, of course, the only man that was keeping the Sox alive, Kike, almost hit a home run, hit a triple, but
and couldn't capitalize.
Just that Astros pen too, just getting out of jams has been unbelievable. Have to give a big shout out. Best championship series performance of all time, Yordan Alvarez.
Wow.
It got to a point in Game 6. Why are they even pitching to him? You know what he's going to do.
Just give him first base.
Just watching him, pure hitter, can spray the ball the other way, hits everything with power, line drive after line drive. Man, it is just, this Astros team, I hate to say it, they're scary.
Yeah.
And Kyle Tucker, they got guys up and down the lineup that can hit, get on base.
The big play in that Game 6 game, which I called out as we watched it, the strikeout and then the caught stealing on second base.
It was just
Maldonado can't hit for save his life.
He got a single that game.
Congrats, got a single.
First hit of the series.
But his defense.
Oh my God.
His ability to throw her out like that is crazy. And that just completely shut the door on any Red Sox chance to win that game.
It really did. And Kyle Tucker, 3-run home run in the 8th inning, and that was the game. That was the series right there. It was sad to see the Sox run out of gas, but with their
at the beginning of the year, you didn't expect them to be there.
They were expected to be 4th in the AL East, fighting with the Orioles down there. But huge props to them. They had a great season, knocked the Yankees out of the playoffs, which is more than you can ask for.
Love it. Love it.
But
they'll be back.
They will. They will. I think they're going to have a good off season, and their pitching, especially their bullpen, has just been really good.
They have a good core to build around. But the Red Sox have money because they got rid of Mookie Betts' contract. So they have money to spend this offseason, and they're going to go out there and find the holes that they need to figure out and build going forward in the future.
Unfortunate, they just couldn't keep it up. I mean, they were just so hot.
Yeah.
And they were bound to slow down at one point. And again, the Astros just stepped up. Their pitching was crazy good. So going into this World Series, the Astros are the favorite. As Mets fans, we are so... God, I don't even know how to describe it. The last thing I want to see is the Braves win the World Series, but the MLB fan, the baseball fan of me, hates the Astros. If it could end in a tie, I would love that.
I want we're to go back and forth. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3, Game 4. Game 7 go 20 overtime, 20 extra innings, and then we'll have the Astros
I hope
win.
it's just a blowout either way. But yes, as Mets fans, we cannot root for the Braves.
Nope.
Because they are in our position right now.
Yep. And the Astros didn't personally screw us over.
That's true.
They screwed over the Yankees, which I kind of like. They're happy.
And the Dodgers,
and
which
the Dodgers,
don't
which
mind
I don't
that,
care either. But yeah, they I guess want the Astros to win the series, and hopefully Yordan Alvarez continues his ridiculous hitting, which the Astros just it's the jokes, like the great teams that have done all these scandals, like Barry Bonds still would have been a Hall of Famer if he didn't take PEDs. He's that good. Tom Brady and the Patriots were still win Super Bowls if they didn't deflate Gate or Spike Gate or like that.
Very true. But
the Astros is one of those teams that, even with the cheating, they're just such a great team.
They are, and
they've got talent up and down that lineup, up and down that bullpen, up and down that roster. There's very few holes in those.
It's so
teams.
infuriating that they're so good.
Yeah, it's hard. It
really is. So obviously Braves without their MVP, as they have been for most of the season, they're gonna have they need their key guys to step up. Eddie Rosario, Jock Peterson, Freddie Freeman. For them to win this series, they're gonna have to have those guys step up, continue this clutch hitting, and their pitching needs to stay good. Their pitching looked unbelievable against the Dodgers. As you said, made probably the best lineup in baseball look average.
Yeah.
If not bad at times. Their bullpen has just been unbelievable out of nowhere, too. Their starting pitchers, they started off the season with so many injuries. They were in 4th place for a little while in the NL East, and now they're just looking unbeatable. It's going to be a fun World Series.
Yeah, and the pitching matchup to start the series goes Charlie Morton for the Braves, who's pitched very well this postseason, and Framber Valdez for the Houston Astros. So should be a fun way to start the season.
I'll say this, too. In the MLB, we have not had a repeat winner in this entire decade so far. The past 2 decades. No repeat winner.
I think they're probably the only sport can say that.
I think so. Which, once again, just proves why baseball is, of course, the best sport, and that's why it's America's sport.
Right.
Anything can happen.
Have the Patriots won back-to-back?
Had to have, right? With Tom Brady winning 6?
NFL might also be the other sport hasn't had back-to-back champions.
Super Bowls 38 and 39.
What year was that?
03 and 04.
Yes, perfect. Okay,
there we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, baseball is the only sport not to have repeat winners in the past 2 decades.
It's actually the last time that's happened in the NFL.
Wow. And gotta say this, Dusty Baker, Astros manager, I think he's the 3rd manager ever to lead a team to the World Series in both the AL and the NL, which is incredible. And that was a tough job to take over, coming off the biggest scandal I'd say in modern sports. In the past however many years, biggest scandal. He's just been proving the haters wrong, and it stinks that the Astros have just been so good. 4 more wins, and we will have a World Series champion. It's going to be crazy. Going to be a great World Series.
Fun World Series to watch. I'm looking forward to it. I guess kind of looking forward to it. I wish there was better teams more favorable teams as a Mets fan in this. But, yeah, it's fun to watch. Looking forward to it.
I'm sorry, that was 04-05.
Okay.
My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, it's going to be a great World Series. Hope everybody tunes in for that.
Yeah, we'll be back next week to recap more of the World Series. We'll be through Game 5 or 6. Might be
it could be over by then.
Yeah,
never knows.
Back into off-season baseball after that.
We look forward to giving you guys the best coverage and analysis on that in our weekly recap. We're going to cut to some quick PSAs. Are you feeling stressed from classes? If so, you should join the campus ministry for a taste of mindfulness meditation on Mondays from 1 to 1:30 p.m. during the fall semester. Sessions will take place on Zoom. Contact campus ministry for more information. All right, guys, so this is my favorite time of the year, NBA opening week. Probably second behind the playoffs. I think a lot of takeaways we've got from this week. Started off with a great opening night. Bucks, Nets. Bucks looked dominant as ever. But I was actually more excited about the next the next game of the day, which was Celtics-Knicks, which we have a resident Celtics fan, and I guess maybe a little bit of a Knicks fan. But
I don't hate the Knicks, but
doesn't hate the
fan
Knicks
overall.
From New York. But before we get into that, Sean has some trivia for us today, and we're kicking off our NBA segment, so let's hear it.
Okay, so the statistics of dunks was first started in 1996. So can you name the 5 players with the most dunks since 1996?
Oh God.
LeBron James,
LeBron James is number 3.
Shaquille O'Neal,
Shaquille O'Neal is number 4.
Who would be number 1? Who just?
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard is number 1.
Wow, nice, Truett.
Thank you.
I gotta think there's gotta be like some just random on here, right?
Is DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah, that's
on
what I
there?
was gonna say.
DeAndre
DeAndre
Jordan's
Jordan's
number 2.
Wow.
Wow,
number
that's what I was
5.
gonna say. Number 5. Let's think about this. Gotta be a big man, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant.
Nope.
Nope.
It's a center.
It's a center. It's just a center that just poops on people in the post. Still in the NBA?
I don't think so.
Ooh, that answer says something.
I'm just trying to think who's very involved in an offense like that. My next guess was going to be, no, not Blockay.
So he actually retired in 2019 as a member of the Houston Rockets.
Oh, God.
What?
Member of the Houston Rockets.
2019-2020 was his last season as a member of the Houston Rockets.
Interesting.
Tyson Chandler.
Yes.
Nice. There you go,
Thank
Truett.
Thank you.
God.
Yes, Tyson Chandler was number 5
Interesting.
on the list.
Was you saying 1996 is when they started?
Recording dunk statistics.
Oh, God.
Wow.
There's a lot of good dunkers before that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right, well, I think that's a great way to kick off our NBA segment. Let's talk about the top dogs. Nets and Lakers have both gone out to slow starts. Anyone want to start with either of those teams?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Nets first because I think the Lakers, we can really dive into that. But I think it was consensus pick opening night. We all had the Bucks.
I personally
that-
the Nets. You guys
you-
are the Bucks.
Okay. Either way, I mean, you could have gone either way in that pick, but Bucks just dominated them, and
Yeah.
it was incredible to watch. But
The Nets don't match up well
yes,
without Kyrie on the
they
team.
do not. And
Especially the Bucks.
Do you think that's going to be a problem
Yes.
throughout the season?
Throughout the season and going forward, they're going to have to. Somebody else is going to step up. Joe Harris is going to have to step up. Patty Mills played well opening night.
He's been playing well.
He's got to continue
Great
playing
pickup.
well.
Great pickup.
And
Continue
LaMarcus
playing well.
Aldridge has been playing very well as well.
Nick Claxton, the center, young center, he's not. He needs to continue. He needs to play well. Bruce Bowen, like these young guys have
Bruce
to step
Bowen?
up. Yes, Bruce Bowen.
Bruce Brown.
Bruce
Bruce
Brown.
Brown.
I was
thank
say
you.
Yeah.
Bruce Bowen, old
Great-
Spur guy.
great Spurs guy.
Yeah, great
Great
legend
Spurs
of
guy.
Spurs.
Bruce Brown. Yeah.
Bruce Brown, big shoes to fill.
Big
Yeah,
shoes to fill.
I agree with you there. So they're 1-2, just lost to the Hornets the other day. Kevin Durant just continues to do his thing. I don't think anyone's worried about Kevin Durant.
No.
We know the issues with Kyrie. James Harden shot 1 free throw versus the Hornets. And we've seen these new rules, and there's been a little bit of, there's been some times where I'm like, oh, I thought that wasn't called, and some times where I'm like, I'm glad that's not called. But 1 free throw for someone that takes at least 10 a game?
He needs to drive in the paint more. He needs to get in the paint. He's got to stop taking many jump shots.
He's got to get back to his
facilitating,
floater
shooting.
game.
Needs more in the paint action. They need more driving. They just need to play more team basketball. Playing very ISO,
Yeah.
it's just Harden and Durant. And Harden played well last year with his passing ability. He needs to trust his teammates around him. I know Kyrie's out there, but he needs to trust the other guys around him.
Does Claxton start, or is it Aldridge?
I could see Claxton starting at the 5, KD starting at the 4,
Oh, I was going to say, you know what? Yeah, so Blake.
James Harden
maybe
at
Blake?
the point. Oh, Blake might start.
So what? Blake or Aldridge doesn't really matter for this argument, but that has to be one of the worst defensive starting fives
Oh yeah.
I've
yeah.
ever seen.
Which is
Patty Mills, not a good defender. James,
No.
Durant's all right. I mean, he
Claxton's pretty good defensively, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
if Claxton's
he's
starting,
pretty
that's
good.
fine. Joe Harris, I don't trust to guard
No.
anybody.
No.
And then whenever Blake or Aldridge in there, it's
rough.
Giannis just eats them up for
But
breakfast.
that's going to be the question mark for the Nets this year is their defense because everybody knows they can put up points.
yes.
It just depends if they're just getting blown out.
And-
Otherwise,
yeah. It's really coming down to defense. But I'm personally more concerned about the Lakers.
Yeah, let's switch
Oh,
conferences.
yeah.
Talk about
I
the
think
Lakers.
they're probably the bigger issue. Russell Westbrook has. I know he's your favorite player, Truett, but he's not played well to start the season. He doesn't seem. They don't seem to be meshing well together. The big three.
Did you watch last night's game?
I did
You did.
a little bit,
A little bit. How much?
like 5 minutes.
You watched the end?
No,
Okay. All right. So I did watch it, and the stats. I'm kind of having trouble formulating this argument with words because the eye test is good and bad. You see, like, yes, the first 2 games were really bad, but I think the chemistry is getting a little better, but especially between him and AD, him and Braun. I don't know so much.
You talking about Russ?
Russ, yes.
Okay.
I mean, Russ, you know, he had, I want to say 13 assists, but I think 9 turnovers last night, so stats are saying that. But the 13 assists, some of them were great assists. You know, he's getting steals and throwing it up ahead. That's kind of what they need him for, is the pace, because Dennis Schroeder didn't get you that pace. And if it's only LeBron running a fast break, you know, you're not as strong as you could be, because Anthony Davis isn't going to get down there that fast. But still shooting inefficiently, still turning the ball over. I don't, like, last night they almost choked to the Grizzlies. Well, not choked because they had to come back. But
if it
they,
wasn't for Carmelo Anthony.
what?
Yeah,
If it wasn't for
Oh, yeah,
Carmelo,
congrats to Melo.
Without Melo, they lose that game by
That's
a
true.
lot.
But back to the Russ thing. So it was, I think, a chance to put them up 5. I want to say they were up 3. It was either 3 or 2. Melo, you know, they give it to him. He's hot. Misses like his turnaround mid range. Russ gets the offensive rebound, and I'm like, oh my god, it's over. John Morant steals the ball. You know, you go through the free throw game. You know, John Morant misses the tying free throw, whatever.
Off a weird call too.
Weird call, yeah.
Yeah.
Very, and that goes back to the rules thing we were
Yeah.
saying. But go up 3 with Melo free throws. Russ steals the inbounds pass.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things when you've been in the league as long as he has, you're gonna like have a knack for getting these plays. You know, even the Russell Westbrook conundrum happens every year, where the first, you know, what month is it right now? October to December is awful shooting wise.
He's always been a second half player.
Yeah, and then you go through like this January where you're like, oh, what's going on? And then, you know, February through March, you're like, this is the greatest player of all time. You know, he just puts up absurd stat lines. So, you know, I'm not worried. This is a team built for the playoffs. I am concerned. They look slow. The defense doesn't look that good.
That's what I want to harp on. Them against the Suns, it was ugly to watch. It looked like you had a bunch of 40-year-olds at the YMCA that just couldn't run a fast break. It was horrible. LeBron pulling up in transition, Melo handling the ball in transition. Russ wasn't looking too fast either. And then finally Vogel didn't play Rondo yesterday because, oh my God, it's just so frustrating to watch 4 old guys on the court at the same time that need the ball in their hands with Rondo, Russ, Melo, and LeBron. It's just not going to work. Thank God he didn't play yesterday, but this team is slow and they are old.
They're slow. They got to get. I think once Taylor Horton-Tucker comes back, you know, his youth is going to.
Is Malik Monk playing?
Yes,
Malik Monk
he
hit
played
some
very
big
well.
free throws.
Him, Austin Reeves.
That's what he's got. Austin Reeves played very well too.
The bench was the only reason why they were in that game yesterday.
Yeah, the bench. We were talking about this. If you look at the plus minus, I think most of the stars were negative.
Bazemore played well too.
LeBron, AD, and Russ were all like plus minus -8, but the bench was like plus 15 for most of them.
Yeah,
like plus 19 for like Austin Reeves or something like that. So the bench is young. You mix in a couple bench players with LeBron.
I think that's what they're gonna have to start doing.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Rondo thing, because I almost threw up on opening night when I saw Rondo handling the ball and Russ just sitting on the wing catch and shoot. I didn't know what was going on.
LeBron sitting in the corner, like it's so simple, I guess, from our standpoint.
Yeah.
But
we're not NBA coaches.
That's why Vogel's the coach.
Exactly.
They'll figure it out.
He's a championship-winning coach at this point. He can do it. Yeah, we'll look at that as the season goes through. I want to switch over, Sean. You're gonna like this. Another contender, Stephen Curry, is going on another tear. But you know, how much help does he have?
So, pulling up the stats right now for the Warriors so far at the start of the season, Steph Curry's averaging 31 points per game, which is amazing. He's shooting lights out of the ball. He's averaging 9 rebounds and 7 assists. He's close to a triple-double. That's crazy. Well, other than that, Jordan Poole has been stepping up big. 17 points per game, third-year guard, making a big leap. Wiggins averaging 15. Damian Lee, 12. Iguodala's playing nice minutes, 8 minutes per game. The rookies haven't done great so far this year. I think only Moses Moody's really gotten minutes so far this year. He's averaging 1 point per game. He's got 4.5 minutes per game, so not doing much out of him.
Kuminga's also out.
Yeah. So they're missing some guys. They're going to start coming back. Klay Thompson's going to come back. Klay Thompson's mad about this whole not being top 75 in the NBA, so probably come up and put up some big numbers coming into the season. So the Warriors are my pick to have the most improved team in the NBA this year, and they're playing well, and they're a championship winning team this year. They're championship caliber, especially in that West.
I agree with you, Sean. Curry, even when he had that, he did not play well against the Lakers. Still
Finds
dropped
ways.
21 points.
Yeah.
Didn't miss a free throw. They're just going to find ways to win, and he's got to be, if not the favorite for MVP, he's got to be up there.
Yeah, and he always finds ways to win. Like, he might not be shooting well, but he'll do the other things. Like, that's what I love about him. Like, people just think he's like an all or nothing guy, and he just shoots threes, make these pretty plays, but like he's also gritty.
Unbelievable playmaker. He just sets stuff up. That offense with him on the court, it's unbelievable to watch because the defense just has to be locked in on him at all times, regardless if he's having a bad night or not.
And without the ball, he's running around the court, getting
God.
open. Like, he's just constantly moving.
Yes.
Yeah,
so amazing to watch.
I'll give Steph. I will always give him credit for, like what you said about it, how he's not just a shooter. He does so much for getting his teammates going. You saw this a lot when Durant was on the team. He made sure, he could easily go off for 35 a night.
Yeah.
But he made sure Durant was comfortable, got his thing going. Curry's a great game manager. He moves well without the ball. He's really just like one of the greatest combo guards we've seen as far as just what he can do. I'm not worried about the Warriors at all. They're having a great season. I mean, hopefully Klay can come back and get the Splash Brothers back together. Jordan Poole's looking good. And of course these are all overreactions. It has been it's been 3 games for a lot of the teams, 2 games for some. So these are all overreactions. But in those 3 games, who have we seen get? So you just talked about the Warriors, Liam. Who have you seen get better this season compared to last season?
Obvious choice, the Bulls, man. And not only have they gotten better, they are fun. Lonzo got his, I want to say, he got a triple-double. First player in history under the age of 24 to have a triple-double on 3 different teams. He is a complete player now. He can shoot. Always been a very good playmaker. But with Levine next to him, Vucevic to pass to, DeMar DeRozan, and Caruso has been lights out too. That Bulls team is going to be scary. And right now, top of the East, with the Hornets right behind him, Truett.
And that's a great segue. I'm going to go to the other Ball brother, LaMelo Ball, who, in the eye test, all the highlights, it's House of LaMelo. I mean, he's just putting on great performances in his second year. 22 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, nothing like too special, but I mean, he's just doing a great job at leading this team. Miles Bridges is playing very well. Gordon Hayward's, always been reliable. Kelly Oubre was a great pickup. They just beat the Nets. That's a huge win for them. They got Book Knight, who hasn't really played that much at all. Vernon Carey Jr., who didn't really have that good of a year at Duke, right? I think he was supposed to be really good.
No.
PJ Washington's doing his thing. They're just. I could see them being. The East is so top heavy. There's a lot of contenders, but they're going to definitely make the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%.
Play-in games or playoffs?
What?
Play-in or playoffs?
I think they could.
I think they can sneak into like a 6 seed.
Definitely a fight. Yeah.
There's a lot of teams against
exactly.
the 6 seed, though. There's a lot of teams fighting for that.
But just like the Bulls, Hornets, so fun to watch too.
Yeah.
The Bulls. I haven't watched a game of the Bulls yet, but DeMar DeRozan is averaging 21 points per game, which is very high for him. It's very impressive. Zach LaVine's 27 points per game. Lonzo Ball's 14. Like, they're playing well as a team, which is. They're meshing way better than I would have ever expected them to play to start the season.
But they got guys that have their role, which is it's perfect.
They all have
knowing their roles
defined roles.
Exactly.
And, that Lonzo block on the dunk attempt. That's wow. That was really something.
We got to give credit too to the Bulls front office because a couple of years ago they were in a horrible, horrible spot. They had players fighting with Boylan, their coach, and now they look like a complete team.
And give credit to their head coach. Like,
oh yeah,
he has these guys buying in.
Yeah.
Like DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball. These are 2 not really ball heavy, but they're pretty ball heavy players coming into this offense, and
They
they're
can
learning
play make.
how to move the ball, play the team, like joining this team of this core of Levine and Vucevic. They just play ball together.
Ooh,
Bless you. All right, who has played worse than last year this season?
Sean, you want to start us off?
Okay, so it seems kind of counterintuitive because you didn't think this team could get much worse, but the Pelicans are playing absolutely terribly. And their team built around them, maybe not their record themselves, but the team that they have constructed this year, losing Lonzo. Zion's injured. There's been reports that I'm a big Zion fan, let's preface that, but there's been reports that he's up to over 300 pounds now after his knee injury.
That's a lot
Yeah,
of
that
pounds.
Mountain Dew commercial, he looked big.
Yeah, it's not a great look. And if I was him, I'd want out of New Orleans now. Move somewhere else. This team does not seem built together to win a playoff game. I feel bad for Brandon Ingram just chilling there. Like, Brandon Ingram's a good player, but he's not going to be able to do anything on the Pelicans. They don't have a point guard. They kill Alexander Walker. Like, come on now.
That Eric Bledsoe, Drew Holiday trade was just
Terrible.
It made no sense whatsoever.
No.
And the Pelicans, it seemed to have been underperforming forever.
Yes.
They had a good team last year.
They
Yeah.
easily might lose two of the greatest players in the past decade between Anthony Davis and Zion Williamson, and have done absolutely nothing with
nothing
either of
to
them.
show for it.
Nothing.
It's sad. It
Brandon
really
Ingram
is.
was an all-star last year. Like, they have nothing to show for this team. Like, not a playing game, not a playoff appearance. I think they got one playoff appearance with Anthony Davis, an 8 seed, and got just rolled over by the Warriors. I think that's what happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But other than that, they've done nothing. Which, to their front office, David Griffin and the rest of it, like, just gotta do better than that.
They did have that good series where they upset the Blazers. When it was Drew, and I think it was the year that DeMarcus was injured, and they played so much better after he tore his Achilles, which is terrible to say, but they just did, and then they upset the Blazers. But other than that, it doesn't really change your point at all.
Yeah.
What about you, Liam? What are you thinking?
Oh, man. I'm a big Mavericks fan. I'm going to preface this with that. It makes me so happy to see the Clippers just bad this year. I know they're missing Kawhi Leonard, but Paul George went off the other day and they still lost. It put a huge smile on my face. Clippers are going to be bad this year. Without Kawhi, I don't know if they're making the playoffs.
What? Really?
No, come on now.
Hopefully. I mean,
Hopefully,
it
you want
just-
to make the playoffs?
God no. Hopefully they don't. It just makes me so happy to see them 0-2, and Paul George had a great game, and they still lost.
I personally loved how Paul George told Steph Curry to pull up from the logo, and then Steph Curry does later in the game, pulls up from the logo and bangs it. Like,
Yeah, you
keep
don't do that.
talking
You don't
trash,
do that
Paul
to Steph
George.
Curry. You don't do that.
But without Kawhi Leonard, this team is going to struggle defensively, and they have been rebounding horribly. I think they're second to last in rebound. I mean, it's only been 2 games, but
Yeah,
I just hope they keep up this terrible play.
they're looking like a playing game team out of the West, if I were to look at it right now.
And I mean, huge asterisk on this season, as you mentioned with Kawhi.
Yeah.
But, you know, Paul George is having a really good start to the season, 35 points a game. His PER is 35.9. But, you know, that's the supporting cast looks just drastically worse than before. 2 key pieces in that playoff run, Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris, have PERs of 6.8 and 7.07, respectively. And I just said Paul George's is 35. Bledsoe gives you an idea of like a good to, you know, above average, 25. 7 and 6 for 2 key pieces in that playoff run.
Well, very inflated against a horrible Mavs defense, I got to say that. But
True.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me happy to see the Clippers struggle. It really does.
Yeah, I was going to steal your pick with the Clippers. I'm changing complete course, and I'm going to go with the Portland Trailblazers, who I've just been waiting for them to break this up because, you know, Dame and CJ, I think we all know, is not a winning recipe. Dame is a loyal guy. CJ's had a good start to the season. I'll give him that. 31, 5 and 3. 2 blocks a game too. That's how you know that we've only played 3 games. Is when CJ McCollum's leading the league or leading the team in blocks. But Dame has just kind of come out to a really slow start. 40% from the field, 12% from 3. Not good for 19 points a game. But it's not even this start of the season. I just think that throughout the entire season they're going to be pretty mediocre. Dame needed a new supporting cast. He asked the front.
I think we're good. Huh?
What? Oh. Yeah, so they just Larry Nance Jr. I mean, these are not pieces that are going to move the needle in terms of making the playoffs or I mean, sorry, not they'll make the playoffs, but in terms of getting to where you want to go, which is the finals. And when is it time for them to break up this team? You have Dame and CJ, and that's it. Nurkic is not what he used to be. Norman Powell is your third leading scorer. That's never the recipe for a championship-winning team.
I totally agree, and these Sixers need to go get Dame. That's my take.
Wow.
Oh, they absolutely
For
have
Simmons?
to. They have to.
Huh?
Are they just tossing Simmons in there?
Absolutely. Well, Simmons, of course, he's not playing in Philly. That's a done deal. It's not going to happen. Sixers, if they want a chance to be competitive against the Nets and the Bucks this year, they need to get Dame. And they have a good supporting cast too. Seth Curry yesterday, lights out against the Thunder, and that pains me to say because he was on the Mavericks and they came away for nothing. But lights out against the Thunder. Furkan Korkmaz has been really good so far this season.
That would be quite a set of shooters right there.
Yeah. Especially against a guy that can just light it up with Dame.
What about CJ McCollum? Ben Simmons for CJ McCollum.
I think that's a little more realistic.
Do the Sixers get better there? Like,
well,
the Sixers don't have a point guard.
Simmons,
yes, that's
Sixers
need a bona fide point guard. Pick and roll between Dame and Embiid, it would be oh my god, pick and roll, pick and pop. It would be gorgeous.
The problem is Simmons' trade value is so low. You're gonna have to wait for the Blazers to get desperate and wait for them to be like 12th seed in the West.
But
if you're the Blazers, would you take a package of Ben Simmons, which you can turn around
Ben
hopefully?
Simmons picks.
Ben Simmons and like 3 first-round picks, 3 or 4 first-round picks.
Absolutely, I would.
For Dame.
I mean, we've talked about this for a while.
And another piece, another like good player.
But the
Danny Green, Seth Curry, like what do you want if you're the Sixers? If you're the Blazers, and what would the Sixers give up? Like I don't think the Sixers are giving up Seth Curry.
Maybe Maxey,
Tobias.
Ooh.
That's
a lot.
I don't think the money would work out there.
But,
Those are too big. But someone like Maxey, a young player.
Yeah, that's fair.
If I'm in the Blazers front office, it's been a long time overdue to blow this team up. Everybody knows they weren't going to win. They aren't going to win with this team they have now. It's long overdue.
Sort of crazy.
They got to do something.
They trade away Dame and CJ McCollum to the Sixers for like Tobias, Ben Simmons, Maxey, and Cole picks.
Wow.
That would be very interesting.
If you're getting rid of Dame, why keep CJ on your team?
That would rock the NBA.
Why is McCollum still on your team?
Then at that point, do you trade McCollum for a couple forwards? At that point, because I mean,
I don't know.
CJ, Seth Curry, Dame, that's pretty small, and all guys. CJ and Seth have been essentially doing the same thing.
And Draymond, that's right, and Danny Green.
Yeah, and Danny Green.
It's gonna be interesting. There are some trade rumors.
It would be fun to play front office for the Blazers.
I think it's going to be a pretty explosive season as far as moves being made because there's a lot of guys unhappy. We can start with Kyrie and the Sixers. I mean, Kyrie and Simmons with their teams not being nearly as good without them, so they're going to probably get desperate at some point. It is 5:11. That is our show. This has been fun in the locker room. Oh, I'm sorry. We have one more trivia fact for Sean. I keep cutting him off.
Okay, last trivia question for the day. Another basketball one for you two because you guys are really good at these ones. Okay, 5 players in NBA history have 3 or more NBA Finals MVPs. Can you name the 5?
Bill Russell.
3 or more? No.
What? Really?
Yeah.
LeBron James.
Yeah,
LeBron James is one.
MJ.
Yep.
Bill Russell doesn't have 3?
Shaq, yes.
How does he not have 3?
Shaq is one of the only players. Shaq and MJ are the only 2 players to have 3 3-peats of MVPs.
Well, we just named 3.
Mm-hmm.
Really, Bill Russell doesn't have. That's nuts. Wow.
Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 4.
Yeah, 4.
Larry Legend.
Nope.
No.
How many championships did Larry win?
2.
Yeah. Older, or is this obvious?
Tim Duncan.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So I guess follow-up question real quick. Can you name the 3 other players who have won back-to-back
And Finals MVPs.
Finals MVP. Other than the 5-year include.
Other than
3 other ones have
Kobe?
went back-to-back.
Yeah,
Kobe's went back-to-back.
Kevin Durant.
KD, what was he back to back?
KD was back-to-back with the Warriors.
KD.
Who's the other guy to win back-to-back?
Other guy who went back to back.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
That's right. That Rockets team, 94, 95.
Yeah.
That boy, Truett, you were on today.
I'm
You were
feeling
on
it today. I'm feeling my NBA trivia. All right, everybody. This is our show. 4 p.m. Mondays. Fun in the locker room. You got to tune in. We're getting you all the analysis and recap. We're a radio and a podcast. Check us out on SoundCloud. And everyone have a great rest of your Monday. We'll see you in a week.